You're listening to Dairy Voice by Dairy Business News, a podcast exclusively for the dairy industry.
One of our sponsors of the Dairy Voice podcast is National DHIA. NDHIA ensures information accuracy and represents their members' interests. They are the direct voice for the dairy information industry. To find out more, go to dhia.org.
What's the largest part of your cow's diet? Your forage. But every farm is different, and so is every ration. Whatever your crop, whatever your conditions, there's a Forage Mate inoculant for that. The Forage Mate inoculant portfolio delivers a wide range of proven performers, each uniquely formulated to maintain superior standards and consistency to help your cows reach their full potential. Flex to your forage goals at foragemate.com or contact your Diamond V Forage Mate representative today.
Welcome to another edition of the Dairy Voice podcast series sponsored by Showbox Sires and Dairy Business on the evolution of the great cow. So it's my pleasure to introduce two dear friends of mine and great cowmen, Don and Dave Chalack from Alberta. I'm going to have a chat with them a little bit about the business and what's going on here in Western Canada. So first of all, I'm going to start with Don Chalack, I would call him the more handsome and well-known brother.
But you want me to speak up?
But Don, you and your wife have Wendon Holsteins. Tell us a little about your current herd and where you're located and how things are at your place.
We're located at Innisfail, Alberta, which is just between Calgary and Edmonton, Alberta. Wendon Holsteins has been active for 45 years now. We're show-oriented. We love long-lasting cows, productive cows as well. We love showing. We love breeding good cows. Proud to say we're a 3-time master breeder herd. And it's great to be at an event like this. It's partly what it's all about.
You bet. And for our listeners that haven't been to Western Canada and seen a Wendon show string, David, you know what you're going to see. They're beautiful, balanced cows, work in every environment, big, wide, strong cows that have style and beautiful udders. And Don, you and Wendy have bred great cattle for years. We'll talk more about how you breed cows, but I think at this point we'll introduce the little brother here, Dr. Chalack. And David, tell us a little bit about your growing up and how the Holstein business has been to you.
Yeah, well, it's been tremendous being from Western Canada because, of course, you're forced to travel, right? Everything's not in your backyard. So going to the Royal Winter Fair, going to Madison and all the shows in Quebec, you generate a great network and all the great herds, Comstars, you name it, Paul Eckstein and all those herds have been herds that everybody wanted to emulate. And so you come out west here where distances are large and cow populations are smaller, but the passion's just as significant and impressive in terms of the way that people are investing in cattle. And I would say we have a little different perspective in the sense that it's more commercial out here. Larger herds, people really appreciate production, but they want functional cows, harmonious blending of parts, and like to show as well.
You bet. And you mentioned, David, the Ecksteins and the Comstar herd and the Jacobs herd. And I truly have told a lot of people this, Don, that the only difference between those herds and Wendon is location. And you don't get as many visitors out here, but when they do, they're treated to great cattle. Earlier, guys, we talked about how the cattle are hardy here. You guys have bred hardy cattle that do better for others. Don, tell us a little about your breeding philosophy of what you look for in a cow.
As I said earlier, a bit, longevity, but I think just using the bulls that we believe will mate to our cow families, not always proven bulls, of course, anymore. I believe genomic bulls are here and here to stay, but we truly pick the genomic bulls that for us are higher type kind of bulls. Those are the bulls that we believe will keep our herd moving forward.
With over 85 projects, California Bioenergy is without a doubt one of the leading developers of anaerobic digesters for dairy farms in the United States. Since 2006, CalBio has been forming successful partnerships with dairy farmers to create digesters that are built to last. Our CalBio team has the expertise to help lead you through the entire development process. From project design and engineering to credit generation and the day-to-day operations. With subsidiaries in the Northwest, Midwest, and Southwest, CalBio is ready to partner with dairy farmers across the country. Learn more at calbioenergy.com.
Great advice to young breeders. David, you've been very involved with marketing and branding images about cattle. And in my series, guys, I talk about 3 prongs under the stool. The breeding prong, great genetics, the management tool, taking great care of your cattle. And the third thing is marketing. And David, you're one of the great marketers in this business, great visionaries. Tell us how young people out in this business, how do you market cattle? How do you market your products?
And I should have mentioned Hanover Hill, obviously. The big thing is everybody likes to buy a dream. So you've got to sell a dream. We were early adopters. Doug Blair, Glenn Hockley, and I at Rocky Mountain, genomics. There was a lot of skepticism about genomics. So incorporating and getting people to look at the next generation and dream. If you can sell that, then you've got the business made.
Great points. And you certainly at Rocky Mountain Holsteins did that. You bred some incredible cows and had great success with your operation. And Johnny Copperthorne said earlier today, you started a great sales series at Rocky Mountain. Tell us a little about some of those sales and what might have happened.
Yeah, well,
not everything.
I can't tell you everything.
No.
What we decided to do was, we're situated in a sweet spot there in Calgary, very close to the Rocky Mountains. You're going to go and visit up there. I was also past president and chairman of the board of the Calgary Stampede, which is a great gathering event. We tied them together and made it a destination. You have to, and made it fun. Brought in top consignments. People had success, and the cattle sold. There was no jerking around. They're in the sale. You might think you're going to get 10,000, you get 5,000. That's the way it goes. It's really about value and trust and having fun with people.
That's one thing, this business, Don, we all spend too many nights on the road or too many hours in the barn to not make this fun. And you certainly, there's nobody that enjoys this business more. Don, is it the cows, the people? What drives you and Wendy to keep doing this?
For sure, Tim. It's probably both, a combination of both. As I said earlier, you can see the enthusiasm, the people that are here. Like David said, we're in a different, our location is not perfect, but we work hard at breeding and promoting and getting our cattle out there.
And I'm just going to jump in. I was up at Donnie's and I walked through the herd with Egbert, and I am telling you, you go in there, there's probably 30 multiple E cows in there. I had the Japanese with me. He'd never seen a herd like it. And you walk into that, whether it's in the free stall or the tie stall or out in the pastures, it's unbelievable. The consistency, the frames, you talked about it. Tremendous cows.
I was going to say, Don, you talk about how we're kind of in a different location, but they invented this thing. Orville and Wilbur Wright started this thing called an airplane. And I'm going to tell our listeners in all seriousness, it is worth getting on a plane, not only for the beauty of the country. We're all agriculturists. And you get out here in some of the most beautiful agricultural land you'll ever see. You'll find some of the best people you ever work with, and you'll see some of the great cows. So, guys, I would say my plea to our listeners is get on a plane and come to Western Canada and see what you got. Yeah. Don, a couple things before we go. Tell us about maybe who influenced you, and that's question one. If you'd hit that, who might have influenced you?
It's an easy question to answer because, to be honest, when we were growing up as young boys and teenagers, we had a commercial herd of Holstein milk cows. And I guess David and I somehow got the passion to get into purebred business, to get into this part of the business. And it was a man named Curtis Clark. Curtis Clark to me was one of the greatest cattlemen, of course, and a gentleman. And it was him where we bought at Ultra Holsteins, our home farm, bought our first, I can remember the day, 4 registered heifers that we bought from Acme Holsteins. And that's where it started for us.
What year would that have been, Don?
About 1964 or 5.
Okay, about the year I was born.
And that was Acme Holsteins was Pickard and Clark, Lloyd Pickard and Curtis Clark. And they showed
Sylvia Pabstetzel,
3 times champion at the Royal. And then I had the opportunity with Acme Star Lily to show her 3 times at the Royal to be champion. So that's pretty unique for the province of Alberta.
That's right. And you guys have touched some great cows. And David, I'll give you a chance. Any mentors?
I've got certainly Curtis Clark for sure. But Doug Blair. Doug Blair is a marketer, an innovator, fellow that was way ahead of his time. Took the first ET bull out of one of our cows at Ultra Holsteins, Sandy Crest Drag Appalachian, but also was selecting, I think Stardom was a bull out of a good plus 2-year-old. And at that time, that was heresy. Jumped on genomics. No, Doug Blair is a guy that brought a lot to Western Canada. He set up his business, Western Breeders, just north of Calgary in a place called Balzac. Many people would have joined or met Doug there. Doug's a historian, but truly an inspiration.
It's interesting. I did not know Curtis Clark. I wish I would have, but I've got to know Doug Blair and David, like you. I've been a competitor of Doug's and a friend, and there's nobody in the business any better than Doug. And again, he has made part of your country what it is for marketing cattle.
Yeah, and he saw the light. He's just moving back from Vancouver Island. He's building a house in Calgary, and Calgary that's where it's at, man.
And I don't know, do we need to start a GoFundMe page for him to build this house? You think he's going to be okay?
I think he'll be all right.
All right, we won't do the GoFundMe thing for him. I'd like both of you to give young people one bit of advice on how to be successful in this business. Don Chalack, I'd love to hear this.
Okay. First and foremost, you have to have a passion for dairying. It's not for everybody, absolutely. You need to have a work ethic, the passion, family that will contribute, and just have some great goals that you will eventually accomplish.
Well, I would say the key to success is networking, working with people that you can learn from, and be open to everything.
This series is so much fun for me, guys, in all seriousness, that I get to sit beside and talk with some of my mentors and icons in the business, and I'm truly honored in our Showbox Sires series to call the Don and Dave Chalack great friends, and we thank you both for being on this podcast with us. Thank you, guys, and we will look forward to having more conversations.